What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Game Script. We're looking at the Atlanta Falcons versus the Washington Commanders in a game with huge playoff implications, and it's a game that might not even be that close, and I'll get into it right after this. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Game Script. Simon Edwards at Pumacom here, and we're looking at the Washington Commanders versus the Atlanta Falcons. We got a 46.5-point total. Washington are 3.5-point favorites. They're playing at home in Washington, and it's a game that should have some weather concerns for us. It's looking like it's going to be a lot of rain and some potential wind in this one. So that's going to make things a little bit tricky when we're building our lineups, trying to take that into consideration. But I think I know a good path that we can go down, and I'll get into that in a minute. Just make sure to hit that like button, give me the 30 likes so I can put my favorite picks in the comment section when we get closer to lock and I get a little bit more research under my belt. And make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm looking for 1,500 subscribers. I need about 50 to get there, so I appreciate your help with that. And you want to subscribe anyways because you want to sign up for alerts. These shows can get posted at any time, and shorter videos as well. And you want to sign up for alerts to get those notices when these videos post, especially these showdowns. If you've been watching, we've hit on a few showdowns recently, built the winning lineup on the show last week, and hopefully we can do that again here. And let's dig into it. So it's an interesting game because of the weather situation and the playoff implications, but also because Michael Penix is going to be starting for Atlanta. They benched Kirk Cousins last week. He had a horrible fantasy performance last week, but he helped get the win against a weak New York defense. 34-7 was the result there. Now he faces off against a real team in Washington, who is playing for, I think they've already locked in a playoff spot, but the Washington Commanders are playing for seeding at this point, and Michael Penix is a rookie with one start coming in against Jayden Daniels, who's been phenomenal this year for a rookie. He's won a lot of clutch games. He's put up some big fantasy points outputs for us, and he's just been a stud all around. Really good draft pick for the Washington Commanders, has helped to completely turn that team around along with good coaching. And it just looks like Washington right now is a team to be reckoned with, and Penix coming into a situation on the road like this could be a disaster for Atlanta tonight. I don't know how close that they're going to be able to keep it, but the team had faith in putting Penix in as the starter and benching Cousins. So, there could be some stuff that they're seeing in practice that others don't necessarily see. So have to give the benefit of the doubt to Penix until we see him like in a real matchup, not like the one versus the Giants last week. And this would be the situation to do it. The Washington Commanders are only giving up 16.2 DraftKings points a game to the quarterback position. They're only giving up 17.1 to wideouts. They're giving up only 10.7 to the tight end position. They've been middling against the running back position, giving up 21.7, and they've been middling against the slot receivers, giving up 10.7. So all around, not very good matchup for Atlanta. The Commanders have been playing really well recently. There are some injury concerns for the Washington side in this one, and we can get into that real quick. I'm going to share over the injury report. We're looking at Dyami Brown is out on the offense. Noah Brown still on IR. Austin Ekeler on IR. Andrew Wiley, right tackle, is out. As far as the defense, we're missing Marshawn Lattimore tonight. He made his debut for Atlanta last week. did not last the whole game, did not do very well when he played, and then now he's out again, the very next week. So we also got a few depth issues here on these other defensive spots, but for the most part, Marshawn Lattimore is the big one, and we got some big injuries, or at least some injuries that will impact us on Showdown in this wide receiver core. The guys that benefited were Jamison Crowder and who was the other guy? Jamison Crowder and Alameda Zaccheaus last week with these injuries to the wide receivers. So that should be interesting for us. Let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons. We can see their injury report real quick. Missing Rondale Moore still. He's on IR. Fullback Robert Burns is out. Really nothing too major for the rest of it. Tyler Vrabel. On the defense, we're looking at a bunch of guys on IR. They have a bunch of defensive players on IR, so probably some depth issues there with Atlanta's defense. But that's kind of on par with what we might expect in this game. Atlanta's defense has been worse than the Commanders' defense. They're giving up 18.5 DraftKings points a game to the quarterback position. That's good for Jayden Daniels. Giving up 32.1 to wideouts. That is by far the most points given to wideouts in the league. So that sets us up nicely with Terry McLaurin. Got a lot of captain options in this game. There's going to be some decent captain options for us to choose from. So Jayden Daniels in a good matchup. Robinson will probably be a little bit rougher matchup against Washington. With a rookie quarterback, you got to figure they're going to be putting some extra attention on Bijan Robinson as their best player. And Washington's already only giving up 21.7. That's the middling matchup. Robinson might be a little overpriced for the matchup in this one. So I don't know how heavy I'll be on him, but Washington has allowed the most yards before contact. So there's an advantage there for Bijan. Drake London is running most of his routes in the slot now. And as far as the slots versus the out wide receivers, I think Mooney is going to have the better matchup in this one. Washington's allowing, according to Rich Rebar, 7.5 yards per target, and also allowing an 8.9 touchdown rate to receivers. So the touchdown rate is good, but the yards per target are not so good for Drake London. If you think that they can be in position to score touchdowns tonight, then Drake London might be interesting. And that's, considering the rain and potential wind factors on top of Michael Penix being a rookie quarterback facing off against a good defense run by a good defensive-minded head coach. So Drake London, could be interesting tonight. Brian Robinson is going to be in a good spot. Likely home favorites, likely to be playing with a lead in this one. And in bad weather, Robinson with no Ekeler behind him and some scrubby backups, I wouldn't be surprised to see Robinson have a decent game in this one. And he's going to be a captain option for us. Penix, I talked about. Mooney is probably my favorite receiver on the Falcons side. Mooney is going to be in a decent spot with the Commanders. According to Rich Rebar, Atlanta is allowing 8.2 yards per target to outside receivers and a 4.8 touchdown rate. So the touchdown rate's not as good as the slot receivers, but Mooney should have easier matchup in general than Drake London, with Mooney running most of his routes on the perimeter. So Mooney is going to be set up as a potential captain option if we need a cheap option tonight. Alameda Zaccheaus, with the injuries to the Washington side, Alameda Zaccheaus is relevant in this slate. He's at 6,400 though. He had 2 touchdowns last week against Philly, which is a really good defense, and 24 DraftKings points. But an element of surprise there last week with Alameda Zaccheaus. We're looking at Ray McLeod, or is this Ray McLeod? Yeah, Ray McLeod on the Falcons. I got confused for a minute there. Ray hasn't really done anything for a couple weeks. He got off to a pretty decent, well, I guess not that decent. I thought I remembered him being better in the beginning of the season, but he's had a few weeks where he scored over double-digit points. As far as slot receivers, Drake London's obviously running most of the routes in the slot, but Ray McLeod still runs 43% of his routes in the slot as well. So the Commanders giving up 10.7 DraftKings points a game, middling matchup. Ray McLeod, may be interesting if you need that salary. But we got Zay Gonzalez or Zane Gonzalez as an option down here, the Washington Commanders kicker, who I would prefer over him. We got Patterson. I would also prefer over him. These kickers, by the way, fill-in kickers, and they have not been doing that much for these teams. So we got 2 backup kickers in this game facing off against each other. Kyle Pitts has been basically MIA like the entire season. Last week, only 1.7 DraftKings points. He's had 1 week all season over 20 DraftKings points. And on top of that, the Commanders are only giving up 10.7. So they're one of the better teams against the tight end position. Ertz would be preferred tight end in this matchup. Ertz at only 4,400. He's had a lot more decent weeks than Kyle Pitts. And with the matchup, Washington is giving up. Actually, they're about the same as far as the tight end matchup. I think it's just a matter of, do you trust Ertz or do you trust Pitts more? Ertz has been more reliable this season, so Ertz might be the way to go there. And Pitts is $400 more expensive. But really, I mean, that could be a rotational situation if you want to rotate those guys in and out. Commanders defense, I think, is pretty cheap, 4,200 against a rookie quarterback in a high-pressure situation. I don't mind the Commanders defense at all tonight. Tyler Algier will be in play too. Like if the weather conditions are really bad and they need to run the ball more, he's at 4K. But Tyler Algier, I'm kind of projecting this one to be the Commanders with a big lead in this one. So I don't know how much we'll see of Tyler Algier. But if you have a different game script, you can definitely keep Algier in your player pool. The Falcons defense, not so high on them. I think Jayden Daniels has just shown that he's a stud this year, and he's not something that's going to be like a great guy to start your defense against. Jamison Crowder took over the slot position last week. 3K for a starting slot receiver on the Commanders, with Atlanta giving up only 10.2 DraftKings points a game to slots, but he's going to be interesting regardless at that cheap price tag for his role in the offense. He had a lot more snaps than Luke McCaffrey, but Luke McCaffrey, you could consider him too with all the depth issues that we're seeing at the wide receiver position. McNichols and Rodriguez are the backup running backs, but I think Brian Thomas is the guy that runs away with it tonight. But if you're playing for a blowout, those guys would be more interesting. I'd probably go. I think McNichols has been getting the more of the work. Let's take a look at snap counts here. McNichols had 19% snap share versus Rodriguez with a 7% snap share, which is weird because last year Rodriguez was a pretty good running back. So he's kind of fallen off, it seems. But McNichols would be interesting Unless McNichols is more the filling in for Ekeler, and Rodriguez would be the direct backup to Brian Robinson, in which case, like Rodriguez, if we think it's going to be a blowout, Rodriguez might get more work in this one. Other than that, that is about, what I'm seeing for interesting guys. So let's go ahead and build this lineup. I think the obvious captain is going to be Jayden Daniels. He's also going to be expensive and restrict us a bit. But, if we put in Crowder, who we know is going to have a significant role, let's put in McLauren, and let's get Brian Robinson in here too. It still leaves us with $5K per guy. Darnell Mooney would be my favorite Falcons guy. It leaves us with 1,700. If we wanted to do a 5-1 build, that sets us up. We could use Luke McCaffrey. KJ Osborne is now on the Commanders as well. And that's about it for options there. If we wanted to use someone besides Mooney on the Atlanta side, I really don't see anyone below Mooney unless you wanted to go Pitts. If you wanted to go Pitts, then you could use one of the kickers as an option. I'd go with the Falcons kicker over the Atlanta kicker. So, that gives us some options there. That's assuming Pitts rises from the dead and is able to perform tonight. But, that's a stretch. So if we wanted to switch this up a little bit, let's put McLaurin in the captain. Let's put Jayden Daniels back in there. Let's take out Pitts. Let's put Mooney back in this lineup. And that leaves us with 2,500, so a little bit more. That way we can get at least Chris Rodriguez as an option if we think it's going to be a blowout. Luke McCaffrey. Then you got the KJ Osborne as an option there too. But, some decent options there. But let's take out McLaurin. Let's put Brian Robinson in that captain spot, assuming that, this is going to be an easier game for the Commanders. Let's put Robinson in there, and let's get McLaurin back in there. Leaves us with 3K. That unlocks McNichols for us. I don't hate McNichols or Rodriguez. Could be a similar situation as we had with Jacobs the other day, where it was a blowout, and then they turned to the backup running backs later on in the game. But that sets us up there for some interesting options. If we wanted to maybe put Mooney in the captain, this is good because we can build a decent core here with Daniels, McLaurin, and Robinson. And then we can have, guys floating around and Mooney even. And then we can just kind of float these guys around in the captain spots and see which works out best. Let's put Robinson in there. Oh, it's Bijan Robinson. Let's put Brian Robinson in there. Leaves us with 3,400. Same spot. McNichols, Rodriguez, same spot that we've been landing. So, it's really depends on how much trust you have in these Falcons to put up a fight tonight. And they are playing for their playoff lives, so obviously, they're not just going to roll over. But really, it's a tough decision to decide if you want to put Daniels, McLaurin, or Robinson on the bench. I personally want to get all those guys in all my lineups. But, if you have a different game script, let's say that we think that the Falcons are going to do well. Let's get Robinson in at the captain. Let's put, maybe the Falcons. Let's see. I'm not going to put the Falcons. See, let's put Mooney in there, and let's put Penix in there. Let's get Daniels in there, and yeah, that really leaves us with only 2,200 per guy. It's going to be tough tonight to get who we want in these lineups as far as the studs. There's not really like a good cheap option to put in the captain. I don't trust Pitts in the captain. We've been down that road before. It's really, for me, it's really going to be McLauren, Robinson, as in Brian Robinson, Jayden Daniels, and Mooney. So it's really like those guys are bust for me in the captain spot. So let's put Mooney back in that captain. And let's put Brian Robinson, because we're doing this one like the Falcons are going to win. I don't think you need Penix in there for Mooney to have a decent game. So let's put Brian Robinson in there. At least this is $2,800 per guy. They don't give us very much salary relief is the problem on this one. There's not really guys that stand out apart from Crowder as that cheap option. So, I mean, that just leaves us in that same spot. So, that's some direction. I'm going to do a little bit more research. I don't have any ownership projections just yet, so I'm going to need those to make final decisions on this stuff. But hit that like button, give me the 30 likes so I can put those in the comments later on, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Looking for 1,500 subscribers. I'm very close to getting to that mark. I just need about 50 left to hit it. Jesus, I forgot to switch over to the damn screen. So, all right, let me build that lineup that I like the most again. All right, so let's put Brian Robinson in the captain. Let's put Daniels. Let's put McLaurin. I liked Mooney, and we had Crowder in a lot of these, and then that leaves us with 3,100. Basically, this is going to be a decision point. McNichols, Rodriguez, McCaffrey, guys like this. If we swap out Robinson for Daniels, we're left in a similar situation. We got Daniels in there with Brian Robinson. That gives us with 1,700. So we got McCaffrey, Osborne, guys like that. Daniels is going to be the toughest one to get in there. If we swap out Mooney for Pitts, is what we did. It's going to leave us with 5,300 at least. That leaves us with a kicker option. But do you really want to trust Pitts as your only Falcon? Is going to be the question. And if you swap out Mooney with McLaurin, let's put McLaurin in that captain. Get Daniels in there, and we'll get Mooney back in there. It leaves us with 2,500, and that's going to leave us the same spot with Rodriguez, McCaffrey, Osborne, guys like that. So, just play around with it for now, and I'll put my favorite picks in when we get closer to lock once I have more information. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, and I will see you guys later on.